about the law and crime. Let's switch some gears here and head towards a trial out there in Wisconsin. Check this one out. Okay, a woman is accused of poisoning a family friend. Jesse Kerchevsky faces a first-degree homicide charge for allegedly poisoning family friend Lynn Hernan with eye drops. Hernan was found dead in a recliner with a bottle of crushed medication on her chest. The medical examiner ruled her death a homicide when a fatal dose of tetrahydrozoline, the main ingredient in eye drops, was found in her system. Kerchevsky claimed her friend was suicidal, and prosecutors allege she staged the scene to make it appear as if it was a drug overdose. The defendant is also accused of stealing nearly $300,000 from the victim, who she was caring for at the time. The jury was able to hear a police interview with the defendant, Jesse Kerchevsky. Let's take a listen to that now.
When I talked to the medical examiner last, I talked to him numerous times. The first couple times, they said there was a few issues as far as health-wise. She had like 5 things. Then they said they were waiting on toxicology. And then they said they sent out second samples or tissue, something, and then they stopped saying anything. And they said I had to contact you guys.
And that's when I got the boss.
Okay. And I'm going, I just want to know, because they kind of weren't sure. We didn't know if it was a suicide or if it was something medical. She was in the hospital shortly before. She'd been sick for years. We really weren't sure, if this is something, because the doctors could never figure out what was going on. So it was frustrating, and she had literally probably 10 boxes of medical documents.
Okay.
And, we just didn't know. And, I know what state she was in and where she was at, but I didn't. It's kind of frustrating because I was there all the time taking care of her. I'm the one who took her to the doctor. I'm the one who did everything. So the not knowing, and I wasn't there with her.
There is a medical
so it bothers me because I go, could I have been there? Could I have helped? Could I have done something? That's my hardest part. I've never found anybody before, and it's not something I ever want to do again. So.
The medical examiner, they're very thorough.
Yeah.
I barely graduated high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're super smart. When they talk to me sometimes, I'm like, hey, you got to figure it out.
Well, that's when they were talking to me. I'm going, I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, I don't understand, So
at this point, they're waiting for their secondary, they call them confirming tests. Yeah. But there doesn't appear, there's no trauma to the body. Nothing like that. She had medical issues, which I think is pretty well documented with her medical record.
Well, I want to know, that's what I want to know, if it's in her head. If this has been 5 years worth in her head.
It's frustrating because the doctors could never find anything, And, they found little things, but not...
She just kept doing repeat checks.
For
years.
3 months. She'd have a bowl of soup once a week.
Yeah.
And she had such stomach issues, and she was just frustrated. And finally, the last time we went in, which was 4 days before she passed, that she got out, she was in for 2 weeks. And
where'd she go, Waukesha?
Pro Healthcare, Waukesha.
Waukesha Memorial, right just up the road? Big hospital right up the road.
Was she in the clinic or the hospital?
No, she was admitted to the ER, and then they... but it was Pro Healthcare. It was right here, I think.
Oh, I thought it was Waukesha she was in.
This is Waukesha.
Yeah, Pro Healthcare is WMH.
Yeah, I know actually it's close to here because there was the same night.
Hey, Wade, I couldn't help but look at that clip and bring me back in the day. One of the interesting things is that if you are the spouse or a family member or you're a caretaker and you have a cop like this cop or this detective, smart. He's not in her face. He's not overly confrontational. People feel that they need to speak because if they don't, it may look suspicious. Like why wouldn't you speak to the police? And she basically did speak to the police. She's now charged. Toxicology, I believe, is going to come up with the fact that there may have been upwards to 6 bottles worth of these eye drops, amongst other prescribed medications, 25 to 30 medications. Where do you see this trial going?
Well, I don't see a good outcome here for the defendant. She really talks way too much, and it's one thing to make an inquiry as to what was the cause of death, but all of this back and forth. And as you were pointing out, you've got a very good investigator there who is, in fact, engaging her, getting her to talk more. The more she talks, the worse off she is.
Miguel, I know it can sound that kind of business, our kind of business was, always, I guess, conspiratorial, if you will. But this is the way you go about interviewing somebody, taking advantage of these opportunities to speak to them and try to let them walk through the door, because as my mentors used to teach me, juries love to convict out of the mouth of the defendant more than any other evidence. What are your thoughts?
I totally agree. It also just reminds me of depositions where you have an attorney that's deposing a witness, or you see this in trial and testimony, but more in depositions. If you have more of a friendly type of banter, you'll get a lot more information, especially for a witness that has not been prepared, or in this case, somebody that just walks into the police station. There tends to be, by the witnesses, they tend to fill in voids of silence. And that right there ends up hurting their case, their credibility, and it's just really bad for them.
The restaurant was pretty loud with a lot of background noise, right?
I wouldn't say egregiously loud, but it had enough background noise that from the distance of me to you, you would not be fully capable of recognizing the content of a conversation.
Fair to say you couldn't really hear much in terms of what they were saying to each other.
Correct.
And that was with you being just 8 to 10 feet away from them, right?
All right, Miguel, what'd you think of the cross? I think it's probably the heart of what he was trying to get at. Where is he going to go with that in summation in terms of what he wants to say about why the client should be found not guilty?
Look, I think that he's obviously asking questions to, he's been asking questions to set the scene, right? In terms of how close was he? What did he hear? What was the background noise? And look, I think the prosecution's doing the best they can. I personally, if you really just step back and think about this, with the use of the bump on numerous occasions, I think and also the fact that these undercover agents conveniently don't remember some of the information, yet are very pinpoint accurate when it comes to other areas. I think it creates a lot of doubt in the juror's mind. I'm not really sure that this is going to go the prosecution's way.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Just let me ask you real quick. We have just a little bit of time, Wayne. I guess if I were the defense lawyer, you tell me if you think this is right, you could say, do you really believe that the FBI agent didn't know the answers to all of those questions, that he didn't have his reports beforehand, that he wasn't prepared as a witness, or is this just part of a play, an orchestration, just like Magbanoir's testimony is?
Well, I think that's an excellent line of argument. I'm pretty sure you've heard that kind of line of argument before in your long history here, Bob. But that's exactly the kind of argument you'd be making. Functionally, you're going back to, again, having to look at the witness who was already convicted and has already agreed that she committed perjury. And the level at which they are relying on this witness is extraordinary, even with respect to whether the transcript is accurate.
Yeah, really interesting, guys. Okay, thank you for this awesome commentary.